Now before we get into this video for Midsommar, I want to thank you for clicking on my video and hope you enjoy. Now Midsommar has been a divisive film. It seems like you either loved it or you disliked it. Now the same was said for Ari Aster's first film, Hereditary. Midsommar has been divisive between people who enjoyed Hereditary and were looking forward to seeing how Ari Aster was going to follow up such a strong film. Now, although Midsommar is not as great as Hereditary, in my opinion, this film is still amazing. I want to show you how thought-provoking and how meticulous Ari Aster is in Midsommar, and why this has been the best horror film so far this year, and may very well be the best for the year overall. Now, if you haven't seen Hereditary, please do yourself a favor and click out of this video because I will be going into heavy spoilers. I'll give you some time. 3, 2, 1. Alright, now Ari has shown that he is a master of punching you in the gut and making you vomit all over the floor. He is so good at filling you with dread. The opening of this film is the most reminiscent of Hereditary. Now in the beginning, we learn our protagonist Danny has been receiving cryptic emails from her sister. From the emotions on Florence Pugh's face, who gives an incredible performance, you can tell it is affecting her, but she is still skeptical. We learn when she calls her boyfriend Christian, played by Jack Reiner, that this in fact has happened before. Danny's sister is bipolar and has been known to have episodes. Now, one of the main thematic elements is learned from the phone conversation between Danny and Christian. This is a toxic relationship. And this is what Ari has been pushing for his film.
An operatic breakup movie and a dark contemporary fairy tale.
With Danny's codependency and Christian's hesitation to leave the relationship, it makes for a very toxic relationship. We are also introduced to Pell, Josh, and Mark, friends of Christian who thoroughly want him to break up with Danny. Pell, who was introduced with the line,
"And don't forget about all of the beautiful Swedish women you'll meet in June."
Okay.
Looking back in that line, you can see his definite intentions. Now, after this conversation, in true Ari fashion, we learn that Danny's sister committed suicide, taking her parents with her. Essentially, our protagonist's family is gone just like that, and we get that gut-wrenching phone call where she's just howling in sorrow. You know in the back of your mind, Ari is going to show you, and then he does. We get that beautiful yet horrifying zoom in on Danny's sister, a shot that will be seared into my memory just like Charlie's head on the side of the road. The amazing music only adds to the dread we feel when seeing such a disturbing image. This opening is so reminiscent of Hereditary it could almost be a continuation. After some time, Danny is still in a deep depression. And I mean, who wouldn't be? There are more instances of their horrible relationship, like when Danny is apologizing when Christian is in the wrong for not telling her about the trip to Sweden. This scene is so real and affected me because I have been on both sides of the spectrum in a relationship. You don't get elements like these in many other horror films. We have all been in a relationship where one person loves or depends more on the other. With Christian inviting Danny to Sweden, we can see the beginning of Pell's plan coming together. Now I want to pull forward to when the friends finally make it to Sweden and meet Pell's brother, Ingemar. He too has two friends who are actually boyfriend and girlfriend, Connie and Simon. And we later find out that Ingemar actually liked Connie, so was in fact getting back at her by having super fucked up. Now they all do some shrooms, and we get an instance of Danny hallucinating grass growing on her feet or legs. This is foreshadowing of her becoming the May Queen. The May Queen is a symbol of nature and potential for growth as the plant grows in May. She then has a bad trip and hallucinates seeing her dead sister a visual representation of pain and grief haunting her. When we get the actual festival, they are greeted by the townspeople / cult members. Well, they don't know that yet. Pell introduces them to the way of life, showing them the bunkhouse with illustrations all over the walls. These illustrations foreshadow the movie just like the miniatures did in Hereditary. Pell describes the community believing life is represented by 4 seasons: spring, summer, fall, and winter. He illustrates that once one reaches the end of winter, they die. They think of it to be humorous, but what happens next is everything but. The elders cut their hands and place them on stones, and then sacrifice themselves by jumping off a cliff onto a rock below. This shot is pretty hard to watch, but you can't help but watch in amazement. The effects are top notch for a low budgeted film. Now what I really want to get into is near the ending of the film. Christian and Danny begin to notice that Maya, who is representation of spring, has taken a liking to Christian. Danny becomes jealous and hurt, and Christian becomes fixated on his thesis to even care. This is definitely the community's plan with Pell for giving Christian permission to write the Midsommar thesis on the festival to separate them more than ever. Maya is doing the ritual depicted on the cloth to put Christian under a love spell. They are both a part of the ritual, with Danny becoming the May Queen and Christian pushed into procreation. Danny falls victim to her emotions when witnessing Christian cheat on her, and as she cries, the other women in the commune mirror her emotions and grieve with her, the first time anyone does in this picture. This is when Danny makes her transition as a cult member. They drug Christian after he runs out of the house, jiggling around everywhere. This scene felt so out of place because it reminded me of a final girl scene in every other horror movie. You know that scene when they're running around, they see all their friends dead? I do wonder what compelled Ari to put that in. It did take me out of the movie for a moment, but it also gave an awesome gore scene to the forefront with the blood angel on Simon. Christian is put to sleep and then shortly awakened, only to see Danny covered in plants, evolving fully into the main queen. They then give Danny a choice whether to have Christian sacrifice or one of the cult members. It is then shown Christian being sewn into a hollowed out bear. He is then placed in a golden temple with all of his friends and 2 other cult members who decided to sacrifice themselves. It is set ablaze, and Danny is left with a smile on her face, finally belonging to a family once again. Midsommar is one of those movies where you just can't get it out of your head. Just like Hereditary, I loved this film. The cinematography was amazing. My eyes were glued to the screen. I was looking for every little thing to pay attention to throughout this film.
So this was a festival gone right. Well, if you are one of the cult members, it did go right for you. Our characters, if only they looked at the walls, they would have been able to tell what was going to happen. And they possibly could have saved themselves. This is my theory. I don't know if anybody else has thought of this as well. It almost seems like this was all a plan since the very beginning with Danny's sister's death. I think that Pell possibly murdered her sister and her parents. That way, Danny would be pushed to go to Sweden and join the festivities of the Midsommar Festival to become the May Queen. I don't know, that might be too elaborate, but just like Hereditary, everything went right for the cult members. Just like in this film, everything went right for the Midsommar commune. And it was all a plan from the very beginning. But anyways, I'm going to end it right here. I hope you enjoyed this video. I love making it. I hope you stick around and check out some of my other videos. If not, that's okay. I greatly appreciate every view that comes my way. So thank you so much for your time and checking this out. And I hope to see you next time. Take care, peeps.